Rusty, today's been a weird day.
Yeah. Today, game one, I had high hopes. We hit game one, I was like, this is nuts. Even kind of saw it coming. You're like, I reckon Legacy might drop a game soon. And then there they go. There goes Order. You're like, oh, this is a big one. And then game two was an absolute stomp. And that one was just, it was weird. That game was weird. And I feel like it was one of those moments where Mammoth, they looked poised to have a decent game for themselves. Some good teleport plays in bot lane and, things going well for them. And then Pentanet were just happily scaling. And we hit that chaos point where they're like, okay, we've scaled. Let's just split and win.
Skimmy, yeah. I just don't understand because Mammoth, I am so in their court and they just seem primed to break mainly my heart every week. What can they do to stop these sort of gifts being squandered?
I think they're going to look back on that VOD and say there were a few fights that we took at really awkward timings. I mean, I think the biggest one that stands out for me is the fact that they went in with an Ezreal having 0 mana. And the one prior to that, actually, when he got caught in the mid-wave, he just hit that massive evolution that we hyped up. He had a massive advantage. Same for Chungy there on the Orianna. These big power spikes that they had, they weren't able to actually showcase what it meant. And I think that's going to haunt them when they look back on this VOD review as to how strong their early game was to achieve all those dragons, but then to give so much of the control away to their opponents when they worked so hard to achieve it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Spawn, I assume you have now peed out all the bad juju that came with this game. Do you have anything to add before we move on?
Can we just move on?
All right,
please, just give me... I don't ever want to mention or speak about that game ever again.
All right, let's move on then. We've been asking for it all evening, and you guys have provided. This is one right answer. Boom. I was worried.
I wish that intro was a little bit longer.
Oh, yeah? Like
you're getting into your groove?
Just as I get into it, it just ends.
Yeah, I agree. And also, like the other ones tonight, needs more ears. One right answer. We need to pick the right answer here. At Evil says, would you rather have free Wi-Fi wherever you go or free coffee where and whenever you want?
Oh, coffee.
Depends who's making the coffee.
Yeah, bad coffee is pretty bad, but you can deal with bad Wi-Fi, in my opinion.
If it's some like shitty inner city Sydney coffee, I would rather honestly just drink the puddles of sweat from my socks as a form of sustenance. So you know terrible. What? It depends where the coffee's from.
Pretty high and mighty talk coming from the state that's killing the country. That is absurd. And also, I would say that I could tether my phone whenever I want. Yeah. So
you got
I always have the internet. And even bad coffee at least has a function. Like, I don't want to drink it. But if you have a bad cup of coffee, like if you're exhausted and you just need a pick-me-up, a bad cup of coffee Rusty.
Like, you're right with 4G, but, like, if I'm just... And, like, where people do marathons, there's, like, the water place where you can run past it. You either grab the cup of water or you can keep... If it's coffee like that, like, I get to just have that readily available anytime I want. The guy appears with the white fold-out tray table with coffee. Mm-hmm. I'm happy because I can say no.
I would say, if the question is at its pinnacle, the quickest Wi-Fi you can have versus the best coffee you can have...
Ooh.
Coffee is a clear winner.
Coffee's the winner for sure. Because you tap out at internet speeds in terms of like there's a level where I go anything above this just doesn't, like, I don't even notice. But good coffee, that goes forever.
Yeah.
Brosephosaurus says coffee is arse anyway. So
I could probably substitute coffee out for like an energy drink if I needed to.
What? You drink...
Oh no.
I could have anything. I don't really need caffeine, quite honestly, so maybe that's why I'm pretty unbiased on this.
What if it was just the drink of your choice? What if it was just like a juice or something?
Oh, true. Then if it was that, then juice would be the win for sure.
Yeah. I think
you drink a ton of juice.
Yeah, I love fruit juice. I love fruit in general.
This is yep. There we go. We just
there you go. Okay, cool. Just leave me hanging. Go next.
No, I just.
Yeah, cool. Good talk, guys.
Sorry, in my head, I was just going, do I double down on this and ask what his favorite fruit is, or do we just like move on? But now I want to double down. So what's your favorite fruit, Skimmy?
I've already got Twitch rolled up. They're like, give Skimmy his sippy cup with apple juice. Favorite fruit? Mango, for sure.
Oh, good choice. Good choice. Okay.
Mango's MVP every time.
Do you like kiwi fruit?
I love kiwi fruit.
Do you eat it with the skin on?
No, nobody does that. That's crazy.
I
Crazy
do.
talk. Although I did that actually when I was a kid because I knew no better. But as you grow older, you realize, some life lessons. It doesn't taste too good with the skin on.
As much fruit as humanly possible, you should eat with the skin on because it just reduces the waste that you're left with.
We're building a list here at the OPL. Raisin toast with cheese, and now we've got kiwi fruits with the skin on. And the great masses don't seem to appreciate that they're the best options.
Culinary geniuses. That's all I'm saying.
It also keeps your hands clean, and you get more of it because it's hard to eat with the skin. It's a very thin skin. It's a difficult meal. Tom Moreau. This one's hard for me. Tom Moreau says every chip is soggy, or every chip is crunchy. So chips, of course, we're talking about like fish and chips.
Crunch.
Crunchy chip or soggy chip?
I hate soggy chips. It just
I
ruins the
hate
meal for me.
all chips. All chips suck.
You're having a great night, aren't
Like
you?
if I'm having a halal snack pack and it's all soggy, it's just garbage.
No, you watch every single thing you're going to say to this. Wait, you don't like chips with tartare sauce. You don't like chips on halal snack pack. You don't like chips with... You just like the other shit that comes with chips at that stage.
Dude.
It's crunchy. It's so easy. If anyone says soggy, you're a little bit weird.
I do think that the only right answer here is crunchy.
There is no right answer. Chips are a bad conduit for food.
You have lost the chat. Height says hit him, and I agree. I'm gonna go soggy.
Really?
Is there a tasty soggy chip?
Yeah, well, soggy's a bad word. I'm going to interpret it as soft, and so if I do that, it because those crunchy chips, like those dark ones where it's like it's too small and it's been in the fryer for too long. Mm-hmm. That's no bueno. At least I don't know, the soggy ones, they're big, they're thicker. It's a meal. If you have a big chip and it's crunchy, then you've overcooked that chip, and that's a bad time.
You know
I'm just
what?
thinking like, oh no, go ahead.
The way that I see chips, right, is when I'm eating them, the crunchy chips are like the reward. They're like the little cheeky snack that you have amidst all of the chips that are normal chips. So if you only had crunchy ones, I don't think I would want to eat chips, but I would still choose the crunchy one.
What's your favorite part of the chip?
It's one part. It's a whole. It's like
a chip.
it's this big. How can you have a favorite part of something that big?
Because I guarantee it's just salt. I guarantee what you guys are arguing about right now is how do I prefer my salt delivered to my arteries?
But I think like if I go to Macca's and they've just had some fresh chips, it's so good. But if you leave it for a while, like say you've got a takeaway, you've left it in the car, you've come back home, now you're eating it, it's all soggy, it's just ruined.
Chips are just bland as shit. If I go into my house right now and just with the most vanilla oil, so no nice oil, just make even thrice battered chips that do not have any other things on them, you will not like chips.
That's insane. That's like saying,
we'll have chips, and we'll just give him avocado, and then he can live in Melbourne.
But it's not just salt; it's seasoning. Like it's things that go with it. Sure.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You just like seasoning, then.
But you can't. That's like saying you're not allowed to like cake because if you ate flour by itself, it tastes like trash.
No, it's
like,
not because the only ingredient of a chip is potato.
You're wrong. It's potato, it's oil, and it's seasoning. It's the third ingredient.
No, it's not.
Oh,
yes,
chicken chippies, though.
I never knew chips could divide so many people.
You're not talking about good chippies. It's bloody chicken chippies. They're the way.
Like chicken salt chips.
I bet
Yes,
Spawn
of
at
course.
3 a.m. loves a good kebab and chips, let's be quite honest.
This is,
I don't like chips.
Really?
I genuinely, Skimmy,
so
do not like chips.
So
what
I
guilty
understand
pleasures
that
you haven't said? Let's just derail this conversation completely. What is your go-to, like, unhealthy snack as such?
Unhealthy snack? Burger.
Yeah. But so what do you have with the burger? Do you go for the salad option at McDonald's?
So, no, if I, like, McDonald's, I would just order salt and just, like, eat 16 tubs of, like, just salt and sauce.
And have a funnel and some salt.
Yeah, but no, so, like, if I go somewhere for an actual burger, I will get sweet potato chips.
I know that you like play the heel on the broadcast, and that like off air you're actually like a really sweet guy and you're a loving dad and like a good friend and stuff. I straight up hate you right now. Like I actually it's not that I'm liking the performance that you're giving or that I have neutral feelings towards you. I have negative bad feelings that I need to talk to someone about.
Yeah, well, you'll figure it out.
We're going to round this out then with a last question about chips. God, we had so many to get through, and then we just got derailed on fruit and chips. Burger before chips or chips before burger?
Just burger, throw out the chips. 2 burgers. Sometimes when I go to McDonald's, my favorite thing to do is just get a big burger and a small burger and then a thick shake.
And stack them all together into one?
No. So I'll have like my Big Mac or quarter pounder, and then I'll have like a perfect cheeseburger, and then I'll have a thick shake. And that's a good meal. 2 burger.
The answer is chips in burger.
Yes, that's good. It's a few chips while you're building the chips in burger. Some bites of your burger with chips in it. Go back to the chips. Go back to the burger. Back to the
one
chips.
for me.
I think you do it like a bit of a scuffed eating competition. Like you have a little bit of everything, and then you got the drink just to like reset the palate every time.
I would say the more cogent question, and we're going to go to a game really soon. They're yelling at me to go to it as soon as possible, and we just need to finish this, so just hold on. The more cogent one is, what is the last thing on the plate with the burger and chips? Because I always finish with a chip. I always finish with like chips. 2 or 3 chips and just soak up that burger juice.
Yeah.
You always got to eat the tastiest thing last.
That's the tastiest thing. It's the chips soaked in the burger, which Jake, I'm sure, would argue is not part of enjoying the chip because you can only eat cardboard and you have to be happy about it.
You can eat all my chips, guys.
This is so exciting. We should go out for a meal together. All right. Well, there you go. We got through 3 questions, but that was a fun time. Chat is just, I mean, I saw one person on your side with that, and that's it. And it's Tax My GP. That's the only person I see who doesn't like chips. Everyone else is calling for Jake's ousting of the broadcast. All right. It's time to jump into the last game of the day. We've certainly had a weird day of League of Legends. Let's see if AV versus Direwolves lives up to that weirdness with our final game for the day with the Maccas plus Chips Champ Select.
Chips.
Alright, so Shock, you're versing Chaz from AV. How do you think he's going to go up against you?
Well, Chaz has been performing really well in OPL, and I really like that he's like sticking to his style and like doing what works for him. But I do think we're a better team than them, and I'm better than him, so I think we'll win.
You're versing Violet from AV. How do you think that's going to
go? Probably our team win, but Violet is a pretty good ADC.
Well, I think Epi's been playing pretty well the split, to be honest. They beat us last time we versed, so I'm excited to get some revenge.
Alright, Mir. So you're versing AV this week. You're up against Lisa. How's the matchup going to go versus Lisa?
I think Lisa's pretty good jungler, and so Lisa, I'm so excited to verse him.
Versus Peprise, it's quite an interesting one because he's been inting his whole career to me, but this year he's actually not inting, he's stepped it up a bit, so I'm proud of you, Captain, but I'm going to have to send you back to being an inter soon.
And welcome back for the final time tonight, as it is the Direwolves taking on Avant Gaming. Basically a new team essentially here, Spawn. You know, since Peprise has come in, they've showcased that, look, everything that was good about us being aggressive is now actually met with results. For me, Chaz, playing out of his mind right now. There's another funny stat that springs to mind in the fact that he played one of these games as the Orianna. He did 46% of his entire team's damage. The guy is literally playing out of his mind right now. So would expect to see some big focus shown his way with the bans, but coincidentally enough, it's him actually going to ban away the Zoe.
Yeah, so we'll see exactly what that leads to. You can't help but feel that this was trying to trap Shock into a Syndra first pick. We've seen Direwolves go towards it a couple of times, and then one of Chaz's best champions is going to be that Echo, which obviously is still up and available, but Direwolves instead take kind of the hottest 2 carries on Summoner's Rift, if you will, right now, Skimmy, as well as a counter-pick jungler. So very much liking the Direwolves pick ban so far.
Out of the last 5 games that Direwolves have played, 4 of them have had an Aphelios in them. This is a pick that Vital is very, very comfortable on. We've been so keen and so happy to see since Decoy's come back into the fold of things. They've played aggression. They've been very assertive in their ability to say, we know what we can do in this matchup. And to add to that, obviously, these first 3 picks denying strengths away from their opposition.
Yeah, it certainly could be. When you have a look at the fact that Morgana being banned away as well, they obviously think that Decoy is going to default back to a Enchanter support. See whether they get rid of something like a Karma as well for that just auto-shoving bottom lane priority. And also just an Ardent user on top of Vital's champion pool is always going to be a good thing, Skimmy. But I'm interested to see how Avant kind of approach this game, because we've seen vastly different Avants. We've seen fast push, we've seen late game team fighting, and now this is an incredibly strong early game composition, right? So I want to see how Avant actually approach this game. Whether we're just going to see the full, all-out wombo combo, something like a set, or whether there is some late-game insurance built into this one, maybe in a Zir or, potentially a split-pushing Echo.
It's interesting to see both teams, what their read on the opposition is. As you say, the Morgana initially denied away, and then the Taric as well, to make sure that there is no strong full-on commitment that Direwolves can try and itemize into. The response from Direwolves is, once again, let's make sure that Shock gets the most desirable matchup possible. Taking away the LeBlanc, remove the Syndra as well. You highlight the Echo is the other champion he's played the most in Split 2 so far, but is looking to try and stem the bleeding as to where the sources of strength can be found.
Yeah, I really don't like that Echo matchup. You've got to give the exact same analysis game on game. This is an Echo that's going to be laning into the best control mage in the laning phase at the moment, going to take a whole bunch of damage, and generally will not be able to get all that much prio, Skimmy. So Chaz is going to have to play this one well. I actually would have liked to see Avant go the Karma there. Karma doesn't have the best lane into Orianna, but, with a Lee Sin, with a Kai'Sa, that's going to be a, real potent mid-game composition. And maybe could have allowed Paprise, I was going to say, to take a hard counter into Chippy's pool, which at the moment does seem to revolve a little bit around fighters. We've seen some tanks, but the mages have dropped off just a little bit. So we'll see whether it is counterable by, I was thinking like Camille, something Paprise has played historically really well. With a Karma would have been great, but certainly still the possibility there if that is going to be a set for Chippies. If it's not, it's going to be a volley.
Yep, we've yet to see a volley support since the rework has come on out. It still has the merit, I suppose, in some way that it can be a tri-flex, but predominantly seen in top and jungle. The deliberation as to what they wanted to do there, as you can see them hovering the Brom for a fair bit of time, but deciding to go for the set in the end. Fresh was still available if they wanted that ability to try and cancel out what the Nautilus could try and do and find picks of their own, but the set is going to be something new that Decoy's not shown us yet.
And,
there's
what
the Karma.
Is that? That's a Karma.
Top
Okay.
lane Karma.
Why would they not just take Karma 4? That's craziness. So it's going to be top lane Karma.
I haven't seen this in a very long time. I'm quite curious as to what variation it's going to go. I saw tank Karma once upon a time, but I feel like we're much more in the merits of support Karma these days.
So the thing about a composition, right, Skimmy, is pretty much you have to decide whether your composition very early on is a 1-3-1 comp, a 1-4 comp, or a team fight comp, right?
Yep.
And generally when you do that, all you need is for, once you get in the mid-game, these champions to end up in the right lanes. If you're playing 1-3-1, doesn't really matter, you pick best lane matchups. 1-4, you have a champion on the weak side of Summoner's Rift using teleport, then 4 people grouping through mid lane, 5v5, everyone just runs mid lane, you smack on. You get where I'm going with this.
Sure.
The thing is that this is like the top lane is actually Echo, because he's going to run teleport, and he's going to be the person doing the primary amount of split pushing. And the top lane in the Karma is actually going to be the mid laner in this 1-4, and is probably just going to sit around this Kai'Sa for the entirety of the game, and try and buff her up, give her those shields, send her into the back line. So it's not like the composition is broken. It's just a strange place to actually see the Karma go. And as you mentioned, if it is going to be built, that support Karma, I think that it will have a kind of rough laning phase. Certainly won't have any kill threat. But you can go weird things. Iceborne Gauntlet into Spirit Visage is what we used to see. So there are different ways you can build this champion.
Yeah, and the Teva can then start to, especially when Empower can heal for some absurd amounts. to help in the exchange that are no doubt going to take place, as Chippies is well known for being a bit of an aggressive laner ever since showcasing some new champions in this league. Here we go for the final game to open up this weekend in week number 5. Those aren't the teams on our screen right now. It is Direwolves on the left and Avant on the right, despite what we can see. But it should be an interesting one. As you say, the first 3 picks favouring Direwolves, finding some matchups that will work in their favour. Once again, I look towards mid lane to find a nice little matchup that can try and propel Shock, and then looking to see how present Miro is in terms of keeping Lisa in check.
And I really like Direwolves comp as a whole, Skimmy. I think that top lane is going to be a little bit rough, but everywhere else I think they've got winning matchups. And when I evaluate Orianna comps, I always look at the ease of which the Orianna is going to be able to get her ultimate off, right? Because there are some great Oriannas around the world that don't need anyone to get them into a team fight. But I think that in OS, it's always nice to have someone that can just take your ball into the back line and set up a great ultimate. Well, this time around, has the set, has a Rek'Sai, as well as that Volley Bear. So Shock could have a really great game here on the Orianna if he farms up nicely. Could certainly look to take over in the team fights.
Going to be plenty of opportunities to access that back line. Or, as you say, play it front to back with the amount of pressure they have to get in the opposition's face. As it stands for Avant, it is going to be the grasp taken here by the Karmas, so it lends me to believe we might be seeing that Iceborne Gauntlet more defensive, tanky variation. How that affects things, we'll have to wait and see, because my eyes once again show to the bottom lane, where it is Violet who opened up here with the Kaiser, feeling quite confident on it. Might have something spicy prepared for us here.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a dodgy trade coming out of Direwolves bottom lane. The reason I say that is if you're not going to flash forward on set, wave 1, especially if you get to the wave 2nd, it's just, you know, always going to be a hard chance to be able to contest that wave, and you probably should have conserved your potion. In the same time, Halo Blade's Kai'Sa is just really strong, levels 1, 2, and 3. So does have opportunities to be able to exploit this bottom lane matchup. And well pointed out, skipping on that graph, you see it go off there, and Chippy's already having a miserable time.
Going to get some solid efficiency out of that one, being able to harass from afar, but no doubt as Chippy's continues to get later and later into this game, can then start to abuse the fact that the chip damage becomes a little bit irrelevant, and may just be a little bit more scary when it comes to the grouping up initiations. I start to wonder, as a result, given the hybrid nature of a Kaiser, if we are going to get the protection coming out from the Karma to act as a double support. What kind of items he's going to look to really itemize into?
Well, he definitely has to go AD this game, right? There's no way you can go AP Kai'Sa if you have a top lane Karma as well as a mid lane Echo. However, Lisa fighting Mir.
Both junglers going to meet at the top scuttle. Shock is there first as well to assist, as they claim mirror control, and they will claim the scuttle as well.
Ooh, and if I am Lisa, I'm pretty dirty on my top laner right now, because look at where Paprise has his wave. Nearly shoved completely into the turret, and yet Lisa somehow lost his top crab. Like, that's just really poor play coming out of Avant Gaming. They should have been able to call that one nice and early, Skimmy. That means he's going to get double crabbed and actually be quite far behind in the early game.
Yep, a ton of vision control is going to be the name of the game here. And Lisa's going to say, well, what can I do to try and even out things? I'm going to go in for an invade right now. Look to steal away the blue buff, which he will do successfully.
He needs to
dive
top.
He's hovering mid.
I mean, if you're Lisa right now, you need to stop this recall and you actually need to dive top. He's not going to be able to do so, though, Skimmy. Doesn't pull the trigger on it fast enough. Means teleport will come out of Chippy's. A little bit of weak side Titan laning there. And he's also up CS while doing it. Across the board right now, Direwolves just looking the good, Skimmy.
Certainly are. And Chippies is going to return back to this lane now with a Kindle Gem. Bit of extra CDR to make life a little bit easier to sustain and harass if he does get an opportunity presented to himself. Mir will complete things out, and no doubt look then to utilize that for a nice acquisition back in the base. We'll be sitting no doubt on a fair chunk of gold.
Yeah, Mir's got the dream start.
It's business as usual.
I mean, this start from Mir means that he's going to actually pick himself up, you know, red smite, maybe some booties if he hasn't gone 3-ass boots in the tree, as well as a couple of, maybe a longsword. And with that, he can just look, because of how the camps are set up, to just run immediately into his opponent's, you know, bottom lane, given the fact that they have complete control over the bottom wave as well as the mid wave. If he wants to instead let his bottom lane to reset, he can do double camps into a Felios coming onto the map with a BF sword straight into a dragon. So Direwolves right now, really, really great control everywhere.
As you say, priority found everywhere on the map. We're getting to that touchy point where level 6 is soon to come online, and we saw what this matchup looks like in the mid lane and how there is room for outplay potential.
And so what you would expect here, Skimmy, is Violet and Appy have just ran out of mana, pushing in that bottom lane wave. Chaz isn't going to die mid, so don't stress about it. And so what's going to happen is as they recall now, Mir can actually skip this one camp if he wants to. He can pick it up if he wants to as well. And they can just run set straight to Dragon and start up the Dragon. You know, you've got half health Chaz in the mid lane. You have the ability to be able to continue to pressure that side of the map. Reasons that you might not look for that is, you know, potentially Paprise has teleport advantage, so you don't want to take a 4v5 down there on the bottom lane. But if Chippies is in any way, shape or form able to stop that teleport, you would expect this to be the Dragon take right now.
That is where they are. BF sword, item advantage. Definitely favours the Direwolves right now, but it will be Avant that get first into the river. They will get themselves vision control.
That's crazy. How did they get to river first? I think that's a big trick miss there. It looked like Vital didn't want to hard push the wave. Instead, he's stacking it up. But that means that Appy and Violet have been able to arrive back on this wave in time to keep it neutral and, in fact, going to invade Mir, who goes over.
This is room for roaming potential. This is a scary situation. Mir caught in a spot above it, fails to flash and gets punished. That's the first blood. And Avant claimed that one, surely now into an easy Dragon transition.
Yeah, it certainly should be. And everything was looking perfectly set up. Vital and Decoy had dictated a really great recall. They should have had control over this area of Summoner's Rift, but it does not happen. And now Chippy's also being chased in the top side of Summoner's Rift. Will blast cone over the wall, but he went very low. Paparai is starting to have a very good lane.
He's ahead in CS. He's not being completely bullied out despite the range mismatch, so he's having a good time up there, and we'll continue to get beefier and beefier as we tend to see. But it is Avant getting opportunities to say, despite not being on the break points that may favour our opposition, we're still able to come out ahead.
Certainly the case. We'll see exactly what the next play is here. You can see that it is going to be the Herald up and available. And see whether the flip comes across or whether they think they can win the 3v3.
What's interesting, I was watching Paprise. He deliberated on
Hold
his
on a
option
second.
of...
Twitch chat 2.0 argument here, Skimmy.
Okay.
Jackson. Chippy's used teleport to get back to lane. Paprise didn't. The fact that he's evil and on CS, I think, is pretty good. Given the fact that he just potentially got himself a dragon. I don't think that he should send him to the Shadow Realm if you lose top crab. So, come on, mate. Chill out a little bit on being judgmental.
I was going to add to the point of Paprise that he deliberated on whether or not to get the Sheen or the Glacial Shroud. Actually sold both items about twice before he decided in the end, I'm going to go for the Sheen. So, going to look to continue to find pressure in this top lane and some more desirable trades as a result to potentially find that all in. As once again, both junglers meet up. The kick will land. Will he decide to follow things up? Just out of range as it expires.
So you can never follow up that kick onto Rek'Sai, Skimmy, because none of the damage will go across for Lee Sin. So this is why Rek'Sai, really good matchup into the Lee Sin. And I think that you can see how Lisa is playing. He wants to actually avoid the one-on-one and instead bring his teammates into it.
Well, both AD carries are left to their lonesome in the bottom lane. The tether will expire, very close to connecting. Aren't the first ones to show up to this Rift Herald, but now look to try and separate the Avant members away. That's going to be a flash and a stun and a connect. And a forced response as well. But it went a bruiser pressure in your face. The Karma can't evade that one. Shields and heals and flashes and more. Falls on down in the end.
Yeah, mistake from Paparaz there, because you can see that Chaz had gone back to his wave to push it in, try and get some of those pseudo-pressure time it started that we talked about. However, off the back end of that, now they can walk in. Orianna not here, but it's still a tough fight.
We'll start things off as three members get knocked on up. A shockwave expiring onto literally nobody because the Nautilus is already dead. But that will guarantee that Direwolves pick up their first objective in the Heralds.
Yeah, and Avant looking a little bit lost there. Maybe they wanted to slow it down, Skimmy, because they did have Paparazzi's teleport coming back up. Violet now getting chased down.
AD carries were content with farming for a bit of time, but then Aphelios decided to turn up the aggression. Characteristic of Vital's tendencies.
And they just lost everywhere, Skimmy. Yeah, it's not often you say that, but the 1v1 didn't go the way of the Kaiser, which maybe you would expect, although with the guns you can understand why not. The 3v3 I thought was also probably going to be in their favour, as it's been pointed out. You got a ranged champion into a whole bunch of melees up there. But Direwolf just showing that at the moment they're the better individual players and able to kind of win these micro checks.
Desirable weapons for that 1v1, as you can see right now. Able to outrange the Kaiser and look to then bully him away, forcing the response of drawing both the supports and the jungler down to the bottom half of this map. And now we're going to start to see that trading pattern that did favour Paprise as a result of getting that Sheen start to work in his favour and put a bit of daylight between the two of them in the CS department.
Yeah, but I think Paprise needs to stop doing this. He's pushing him to the turret, leaving, but not actually completing a roam anywhere. I would rather see him actually spell fling under the turret and play for the outplay, especially when he knows that the volley there ult and flashes down, or not push at all and look for heavy trades in the wave. I think that, you know, his teleport advantage right now has been nullified, and he needs to start getting something out of this. And you can see that Direwolf's potentially happy to just split the map here. They're sending Shock into the top side. It's only going to be for a ward though, Skimmy. And next Dragon only 30 seconds away. We'll see whether Avant can actually win this fight.
Question is, though, here, Spawn, do Direwolves look to try and contest this one? Because they've got numbers top. Miru is on the hunt, looking to collapse. He's waiting for the perfect time to burrow in, and that's Chippy's time to shine. He flashes on forward to look to try and find that stun. It's going to take a bit of time here, but the knock-up connects. It's running it back, same lane, same time, and same kill outcome. 2 kills to none, as the Karma will not be an impact or be an influence in this next Dragon fight.
Yeah, they're going to get the Dragon, but they're going to lose the complete top lane turret for that, Skimmy. Really well played from here. As you mentioned, you don't necessarily have to fight that one. I also like how the rest of the Direwolves members played that. You can see that Shock just removed himself from Summoner's Rift, made sure the lane, wave was dead first. Bottom lane played really respectfully as well. And it looks like they're going to try and defend this with double teleport. That's a big investment.
The headbutt still completes, and that turret plate god will still go across to the members that committed to it. Now, Direwolf still being a little bit cute here, hanging around at the bottom side of the map. It is going to be a 1v2. They're going to open up with a Gravitum Ultimate. He is forced to flash away, and it had to happen. Otherwise, the combo from Sep would have landed, and Nautilus would have been a mere spectator.
Yeah, well played. All they used was an ultimate there, right? And they get the most important flash on Summoner's Rift. This is kind of the last bastion of hope coming across for the Avant gaming lineup. Mid lane is fine, but we keep mentioning it. You know, it's tough to play Echo into Orianna at times unless you're in a sideway lane. It's really hard to teamfight versus is what I should be saying. So they really need Violet to have big presence in these upcoming skirmishes to be able to clear out the area that Chaz needs. Give him the flanks, be able to get him onto the back lines.
I'm quite interested, Spawn, now, given the fact that they've had to use double summoners or double teleports to make that happen, and that the flash was lost as well, if they even look to try and contest this next Herald. Because if the lane flip happens, their macro advantage that they can look to use to try and abuse the fact that Direwolves commit to it aren't going to be as relevant as they were maybe moments prior.
Well, the Direwolves are never going to flip for it, right? Because if you leave Vital with the bottom lane turret, he's going to do a lot of damage to it at this stage of the game. And then if you have a look, I would say that Chippies, as well as Miro and Shock, should be quite confident in their 3v3 at this stage. I think that they're slightly stronger than their counterparts, although the fact that Shock has gone Ceres will make him really strong in the mid game, but does put him in a little bit of a trough right now. So there is potential that that's not the case, but I would just say Direwolves are pretty content with the state of the map. I don't think they have to go for any of these fights. And so we'll just see him farm up, continue to collect waves, continue to clean out the jungle, because he's playing like a very good Rek'Sai game right now. He's stifled anything Lisa wanted to get done on this Lisa.
So what is Lisa looking for as a result now? Blue buff will be up very shortly. He could potentially look to try and deny that away from Shock, make it easier for him to stack up that tier. Now they decide to turn their attention towards the top side, even at the lane that lost its turret initially.
It's going to be a race for first turret. Who's going to actually win it? Looks like Avant Gaming potentially. It's going to be three-way gold split versus just the solo gold going onto Aphelios. This is one of those times where technically, even though you didn't win the gold race, I would say it's way more impactful for Shern to have a solo... Aphelios to have a solo turret. I was reading Twitch chat.
I could tell.
Aphelios to have a solo turret than it is for triple turret to be split on the other side of the map.
Well, Avant continue to be aggressive here on the top side. They've invested heavily. Without those teleport cooldowns, they want to make something happen right now. They don't want this to fall into that 1-3-1 split that you've discussed in the past.
But they're losing creeps on the bottom lane, Skimmy. You see that creep wave just bumps into the turret. That means it is going to start pushing back, and every minute they stay here, more gold leaves the Avant Gaming lineup. They have to win a team fight if this is the sacrifices they're going to start making.
Direwolves without vision know that nobody's on the map right now, and with this spawning, there can only be one place to arrive. They're going to fully commit into this one. Decoy look to try and make a massive impact there, but only going to grab in the support. Out goes the Moonlight Vigil, but gets negated once again by that stopwatch. He's got the ideal weapon set up, so continues to harass from afar. As the Rift Herald's aggro may just get reset. It's getting low, and it's going to get traded on through as Direwolves claim responsibility of it. Avant are very low in their health bar department. They might not be able to make this happen. The Chronosphere goes on down. They're going to try and zone it away. Paprai is really respecting what Chippies was about to deliver. He had the flash if he wanted to make things happen. The Tether was not enough to convince him otherwise. They continue the aggression. They will claim the Heralds. They win out the river fight, and they will take down the second turret.
However, are they going to be back in time on the map for this dragon? 30 seconds for it to spawn. And you can see Avant Gaming coming off a fresh shop. If they stop one base here, this could be third dragon going to Avant for free. You can see they're continuing to chase Vital back, ensuring that reset does not occur.
First things first, get mid priority, and that's what they've done. Now they'll be the first to respond to the dragon, get some vision down, clear out the opponents and put them into a situation.
Should just be gone. They should just be able to burst this in time. I don't know if they're even going to be able to make it, Skimmy. It was the right idea for Direwolves, but they were just fractions too late.
They're looking to contest. A little bit too late, however. The Hex Slash will come on out. They might still decide to force this fight as Chippies jumps into the back line and coupled with the Shockwave evaporates the Nautilus health bar. Pings go out and they say, well, with a numbers mismatch, let's continue the siege.
That was so funny. That was just like two ultimates used for a support. Direwolves, like, they're just a little bit frustrated that they were, as I mentioned, just those seconds too late, so they just grab Affy and just destroy him. A little bit more gold going across to this Orianna, and you can see definitely in a fantastic spot, farming at the timer at the moment. 180 CS at 18 minutes into the game. Shock having another terrific one. But it is going to be sole point right now for the Avant Gaming lineup. And some more resistances going over to their members, which in the current meta does seem to be quite strong, Skimmy.
It's quite interesting that we're looking at some very similar matchups to game number 3 tonight. And a similar scenario in the sense of what is being traded with the first 3 dragons going one way. How things will turn around when Direwolves will look to contest that ultimate soul point. Will they get given an opportunity? As they're the ones now to collapse on towards the jungler. And if we talk about ultimates being burnt before, how about burn a few more from the opposite end?
And 2 flashes! Surely the second one wasn't needed. But Miru obviously is now in the death chamber, Skimmy, so they have a little bit of time to set the map up, maybe try and take themselves a mid lane turret. But that did seem excessive, is probably the word I would choose to use.
Well, both see a target and they fully commit to it, using the keyword of cooldowns equal kills. Question is, though, what can they achieve with this as a result? Baron's soon to spawn, but 3 minutes is the timer this game has been set on. Surely should be enough time for Vital to hit that 2-item spike. As Violet is well on his way, looking to get that Rage Blade as well.
Okay, so it is going to be at least hybrid for the moment. You have the tier upgrade coming across in the Manamune. That's generally what you build on the AP variant of Kai'Sa. And then, as you mentioned, you've got Rage Blade. goes something into Nash's tooth. That's definitely going to be full AP.
Ton of burst, obviously, is the first thing that comes to mind, and got the Echo already, looking to try and make these fights short and sharp and make sure that the Bruise is jumping in there with a Shockwave. Won't be as rampant.
Black Cleaver starting to make a little bit less sense from Lisa, however, Skimmy. I liked it if it was going to be AD Kai'Sa. However, if it is the AP Kai'Sa coming across, maybe you should have just gone something like Edge of Night, which is actually a really good Lee Sin item because it means that you can get your insect off a little bit more reliably with the shield. And another turret going to fall down, and Direwolves just going to continue to extend their lead. About 2,500 gold up. If it's not for the Dragons, this game would be looking very Direwolves favoured right now because I do think they outscale as well, given the fact they have the Aphelios, they have the Orianna.
A few more item spikes to discuss. As you can see, the Iceborne Gauntlet coupled with the Fiends as well, so the Karma going to be able to control the tempo of these fights if given the opportunity to cycle through those cooldowns. But as you rightly point out, the tanks continue to get stronger and stronger. Trinity Force online here for Chippies, and well, with the kills he's got already, be quite scary for them to try and actually handle him when these fights go down.
And I like this decision to ditch mid lane prio for the Scuttle Crab, because it is such an important objective for river control, Skimmy. Obviously Vision, like super OP, right? But just a little speed shrine that it gives you for the middle of these team fights is going to be key in dodging out of hooks, you know, being able to kite out decoy on this set. So I think a... Oh!
That was too close.
I just had a heart attack for Appy. But a couple of big structure takes right now for Direwolves. And as we mentioned, it's going to be Karma grouping while Chaz is in the side lane. And despite the fact that the top laners are completely even, if Chippies has to lane into Chaz for an extended period of time, I think he will lose that. No MR so far. And he is about, 70 CS down on the mid laner of Avant Gaming, whilst being completely even with his counterpart.
You did mention it, that Pat Bryos would most likely be glued to his AD carry. Well, going for this variety build has definitely catered to that. I've yet to really see him look to target those side lanes.
But if this was how he was going to play, Skimmy, his build doesn't really make all that much sense. Just go Athene's into Ardent. No point in picking up this Iceborne Gauntlet if you're not going to side lane it into the volley play. And do they just give this dragon? Holy guacamole!
Wow. Mid lane belongs to the Direwolves, and Decoy was posturing for anybody that overstepped their boundaries. He had the flash, he was willing to use that face maker if the opportunity presented itself. It won't happen. Direwolves get the very first dragon for them. It is a mountain soul they're playing for, and they will just love to continue to ramp on up dragon after dragon.
Oh, needless to say, Skimmy, if they get 4 mountain souls, 4 mountain dragons, this game is over. If they get 2 or 3 as well, it's probably going to be a little bit too much for the Avant Gaming lineup to handle. I wouldn't say they're the highest damage composition. Obviously, single target damage coming out of Echo is going to be really nice. Kai'Sa does do a lot of damage, and he's going Zeal, so okay, it is the AD variant. But I would say I would much rather have, the Volibear, Orianna, Aphelios combo at these items, breakpoints at this stage of the game. Also very interesting to see that Vital is still going for the defensive item of Death's Dance. Despite the fact that it's been nerfed on this patch, Skimmy, we actually saw Essence Reaver picked up in the last game. I thought it did a lot of work.
Yep.
So it seems that the jury is still out on which build is better at this stage.
No doubt, I'm sure we'll see on a global front as well how teams around the world decide to square up its value. As it stands, Shock will be doing a ton of damage. We'll be avoiding a lot of the magic resistance that comes out here from Avant, if present, which isn't much. Quite honestly, here Spawn at this stage, as he's rushed the Void Staff as his third item. Going to be hitting them like a truck when that shockwave comes across.
Yeah, and the thing about Void Staff, right, is sometimes you just want to build it to stay on the clock. You never want to really fall behind, as Appy actually has to flash away there, Skimmy.
Decoy had been posturing for that kind of reaction for a very long time now. Is finally rewarded as they continue to bully Avant out of their jungle. But a lot of this just comes down for the fact that they've been superior in their rotations to get 4 turrets to 1. Now, what can they do? Chaz locks in place
and takes down Decoy. The shockwave connects with Violet. He nearly gets 100 to 0 as Violet's at a ton of protection, but separated from the rest of the team actually gets kicked into the pit and has now been afforded a bit of protection. Miru flashes on forward, looks to try and disengage, and now gives Vital a situation where he can just get a triple, make it a quadra. Season 10, it continues to happen. They all come to him. He looked like he was separated from the team, but suddenly it's an ace.
Yeah, and you just need to learn that you can't run into a Aphelios when he's got the chakrams out and those two guns, Skimmy, because you see how much damage he done. He was 0-0-0 before that, and now has the 4 kills. That's going to be the Baron buff going across to Direwolves. It'll give him about a 6,000 gold lead as well. And Avant's composition, I feel like it's just a little bit too hard to execute. They got the initial pick, but then could not continue the fight from there. And good guys Direwolves, they'll actually wait for their jungler to respawn before they take the buff.
Maximum value achieved, as 5 members will have the Baron buff. Let's check in to see how this all started, because it was Avant that looked to try and find that pick initially.
Yeah, so as you can see, Decoy's actually on a ward. They didn't sweep that one out, so really nice layering of CC. But as this shockwave hits, Violet decides he has to go forward, and Chippy just flashes on his head. Violet headbutts a wall, and Chippy's going to be able to take over the back end of the fight. As we kind of mentioned, however, this is just the playground of Aphelios. You're diving into the champions with the the green and white guns out. Hold the thoughts, give me another 5.
They're not going to stop there. They recall, they reset, they get the Baron buff, and they want more blood. They continue to force that fight. Violet is the target and gets slam dunked on his head. Wombo combo, baby. CC after CC. This is what bruisers do, and they deliver pain. Chase is going to try and chrono break back and look for some form of silver lining. It's just not going to happen. That's this time going to be a triple kill achieved by the Direwolves mid laner.
Yeah, and the Direwolves, you can see, are just very confident right now that their comp is online and that they're in the driver's seat. They're going to be able to push down at least this mid lane turret. Very surprised, actually, to see Shock leave bottom lane where it is, because I thought they could have potentially broken another one, Skimmy. Looks like instead it is going to be Chippy sitting on the top lane wave. And Avant, they need to be careful, because one more slip up will cost them the game.
Mid inhibitor has been exposed, and it's a perfect time for them to recall. Empowered at just that, with 30 seconds now on another Mountain Dragon. You highlighted it before, but they are even stronger when they continue to ramp on up with this resistance buff. And, well, both carries, as quiet as it was, back-to-back team fights, they're the ones that carry the majority of the weight.
That's what happens with good farming, Skimmy. You don't need kills as a carry. You know, you've got yourself some turret takes, you've got yourself some very nice CS. Farming on the clock, and now you're in a situation to be able to take over the game, and good players always get a shot, right? No matter how slow or quiet the game is, if you're a great player in the OPL, you always have a chance to carry the game, and that's what Vital and Shock have shown us in back-to-back fights. See now whether they can get a third.
Avant was searching for some kind of condition to jump into that one chest, separated from the team, looking for a flank, buys himself a fair bit of time as the shield goes down, a big shield comes on up. But Chippies doesn't seem to care. He jumps right into the backline. He actually gets shut down for his attempts. 1v5, perhaps a little bit too big for his boots there as the Baron buff is soon to expire. Maybe overvaluing the Mountain Dragon presence there. But it is still... Well, actually, I tell you what, it was a 10k gold lead. That's done a bit of work to try and close the gap.
And potentially they'll get themselves a mid lane turret pack as well, so a little bit more gold. Bad news is that it did go over to Paprise, who is very far behind at this stage of the game. Skimmy. Good news, maybe he'll get himself that Ardent, which will help out the Kai'Sa a lot at this stage of the game. But that just shows how much damage to a single target Violet and Chaz will do if you are isolated. Really important for Chippies to only go in when the rest of the team is there, and you can see they weren't even on the same screen. Skimmy not going to be able to follow up. So still hope. You need to expect a throw and be good enough to catch it, but I think Direwolves, they would have had a look at that one and said, okay guys, back to base, everyone buy maximum items, let's close this out on the next push.
Certainly looks to be the case, as they have a ton of mobility to get themselves into the fight. There's no denying that. Righteous Glory on the volley bear, the Dead Man's Plate here on the set, as well as the initial ability to burrow and charge at somebody as a Rek'Sai. All the initiation tools they need to ensure that their two carries, with the bulk of these kills, can deliver the damage to secure themselves a team fight win and a game-ending win at just that. 30 minutes in, they continue to claim vision control. Topside junglers where they're at, as they have their eyes set on that top tier turret.
Yeah, really nice flank forward scouted out there by Paprise. However, red buff definitely going to fall down. The job for Avant Gaming right now is to get this mid lane turret wave out as far as they can before they have to go defend top base turret. See, they're pushing it right into the tier 1. They actually might try and sneakily take it. However, now Violet, has he stayed around too long? I'm just looking at the minimap.
They're furious. I'm watching their minimap like a hawk right now. Direwolves aren't concerned. They continue to break through the base. They're going to take their second inhibitor. And Chippy's...
He got to the team.
He tanked on the world and rocks up to the boys and says, back me up. We're going in for a brawl. And that's what they're going to find right now as Bruiser after Bruiser look to lock and place these members. Lisa is forced to burn that stopwatch. Shockwave goes out, but he flashes on her and dashes to the safety of his mid lane turret.
And you can see, meanwhile, Chaz is just bottom lane, split pushing up a Storm. Level 16 now, looking to put some pressure on this base. And all you have to think if you're Avant is we're not probably challenging this Baron. You know, 40 seconds, we're double inhibitor down, but we just need to get as much farm onto our carries as possible, because as 2 super creep waves are pushing into our base, we should be able to get a little bit more gold, maybe be able to complete something like an Infinity Edge. QSS would be a great item for Violet at the moment if he had the luxury to be able to pick that up as well. Get rid of a stun, a little bit of magic resistance versus this Orianna. But across the board, you feel like they're not ready to fight just yet, but maybe, just maybe, these double inhibitors down and some split pushing pressure will give them some more time in this game.
Lisa's ability to try and contest going to be a little bit hindered given the lack of flash or stopwatch now, but the Ardent Center will come online here from the Karma. So if there's ever a time to empower this Kaiser and give them a situation where he's not trying to 1v1 the Orianna, potentially now is the time. Once again, it is going to be Chaz in the bottom lane, no teleport, so he cannot join this team, and Chippy has his eyes on regrouping with them. He's already left that matchup. Decoy's just going to jump across that wall and zone them away, but gets 1v3'd in the process. He is also going to cycle through that stopwatch. And Avant are terrified. They will run away. Their mid inhibitor will respawn. Chippies returns back and is going to jump in here for a 1v1. Has to Bramble Vest. The healing count will be quite apparent.
Holy
he has
damage.
He has delivery. And if you talk about mobility and an echo, a Volibear will look to match.
That is disgusting, Skimmy.
Not done there. They continue to go. The punishment finally comes online as Chaz is out of this game for the next 50 seconds.
And Chippy's just destroyed Chaz. That wasn't even close. And I don't know whether Chippy's knew that he won the 1v1 that hard, because he obviously hadn't picked the fight before Skimmy. But he just, like, that was 100% health to none. Chaz just did no damage to the bear.
Feels bad, man, is the emote I'm looking for right now, as Chaz is unable to have the influence that has been so characteristic of their team's success so far. And Direwolves will say, that's another Baron, that's another Dragon. We are so damn tanky, we have so much damage, you cannot deal with us. These inhibitors all belong to us, 3 of them at just that. And it's time to end this game.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone just giving Chippies a really wide berth after what they saw happen there. Violet would have to be untouched in a team fight for like 10 seconds to be able to take down the triple mountain dragon. I don't think it's going to happen. Direwolves just looking the goods. Hook is on.
One last attempt here as Appy jumps on it. He finds a hook, but he gets taken out of the fight straight away. His 3 members flash out of the shockwave. One falls down. Karma's gone, and so is Lee Sin. Chaz tries to make an attempt happen in the back line, but he falls on down for a double kill here. Avant have nothing left in the tank, and the turret gets disabled as well. Volibear is here to stay, and the Direwolves are here to play.
Really well played game from the Direwolves. Neither of their carries died in that Skimmy. Both of them had 6 kills, I believe, at the end. 0 deaths, and a terrific performance. You have to say, with how that game was set up, Direwolves, for the first time, I feel like in a long time, were set to scale. And they actually played it really, really nicely. Seeding dragons when they had to, giving priority on the map. But then when they were strong, they just continued to fight.
They certainly did. A much-needed win here for Direwolves to keep themselves in the pecking order of a top 3, top 4 contender, working their way into another playoffs race. And Rusty, I mean, once again, we just continue to see volley bear after volley bear after volley bear. Disgusting damage. I don't think Chaz even realised what actually happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, like Sports said, I don't even know if Chippy's realised just how strong he was at that point. But I mean, I watched that game, and all I can think to myself, and I still was thinking that as he introduced me, is Aphelios is nasty. He's just so nasty. He gets 2 particular weapons, and you're like, okay, run. That's it. That's the only counterplay you have is leaving, so they just win the game, you know?
I feel like you do have to, at some point, however, say, why do we continue to pick divers into this champion? Like, why are we playing Echo into Aphelios 7 months after his release? That just feels like such a strange champion to take. Because every time we see these long-range poke compositions played, you know, with the Jace, with the Azirs, with the Misfortunes, it actually looks like Aphelios has quite a hard time to play the game. But, you know, if you are going to play things that have to run into him constantly, like Kai'Sa as well as Echo, I feel like you're kind of asking for it at this stage.
That's true.
Well, there you have it. Another day of League of Legends action wrapping up. Direwolves just continuing that little hold on there for the top 4 spot, and that's good to see for them. All right, that is it for this evening. A reminder, before we get to the results, I am just going to plug NeoSurf one more time because it is that easy for you guys to get involved in the show and to also nab yourself $500 dues to spend in the League of Legends store. All you need to do is create a quick video of you joining our opening titles call. You saw it at the beginning of the show. All those wonderful people who are now part of OPL history. That could be you as well. Film that video, follow at NeoSurf Esports and at OPL on Twitter. Send a DM with that video to at OPL, and you can win yourself $500 as a NeoSurf voucher for the League of Legends store. And then 5 runners up will get $100 each. This is all thanks to NeoSurf. There are terms and conditions on watch.lolesports.com. So a massive thanks to them. And that's NeoSurf, where your privacy is protected with no need to provide a credit card or personal information. All you need to do is just record a video that's like 10 seconds long. And you don't dab. That's like the 2 things you have to do.
I was going to say, if you do dab, you'll probably take my spot. So
You're
maybe
guaranteed to
the
replace.
easiest way to win is to hit someone with a dab, because I'll vote for you. That's for sure.
The Dab Daddy will always vote for the fellow Dabby. All right, let's take a look at the results from this evening because we start off with a very big surprise, obviously. Order taking
Wow,
down Legacy.
hey!
Well, hey, mate, even you tipped against them. You said that Order were the losers and that Legacy were the winners of the OPL split so far. Order taking down Legacy for Game 1. Chiefs beating Gravitas for Game 2. Pentanet.gg living up to the expectations they've set for themselves for Game 3 against Mammoth. And then finally, we just saw the Direwolves best Avant Gaming for Game 4. Let's take a look at tomorrow, where teams can redeem themselves or hold on to those leads. They are so desperately clawing at Chiefs versus Avant for game number 1. Legacy and Gravitas is game 2. Direwolves taking on Mammoth for game 3. And Order versus PGG for game 4. Skimmy, what's your banger for a Saturday evening?
I think it's the final game. For me, it's Order once again showcasing that they can run this gauntlet. And if there was ever a week to get a 2-0, wouldn't it be a statement to beat some of the best teams in this league right now? If you can take down Legacy, and you can see how hot Pentanet are coming in at the stage, I would just love to see them bring it to it and, you know, put away all the haters as to, oh, well, it was an easy week, it was an easy schedule. The 2-0, surely.
The biggest hater, of course, being their GM on this broadcast. Rusty, what are you looking forward to?
Gravitas going to win. Legacy goes 0-2 on the weekend. Bring it on, boys. Let's go NPL.
That would be so exciting. Spawn, what can get your juices flowing?
I think that it has to be game 1. Avant Gaming didn't have their best game there. I think they had a bit of a wonky draft, as we've kind of pointed out. And I think that Chiefs, at the moment, do seem to be building back. So I want to see Avant Gaming try and play fast push or try and play something a little bit more aggressive in the early game and go at the Chiefs and see just how good their early game can be.
So that leaves me with game 3, which I'm happy about. I want Mammoth to get that win. Mammoth, get that win. Mammoth, get that win. Please get that win for me. All right, it is time to jump into the MPL. The MPL, of course, is that part of the show where we unwind with a bit of League of Legends, a bit of TFT. I think we're doing TFT this evening. So we will need a few of you guys. So please, friend request me if you haven't already on the League client, Nickboy, NICHBOY, and we'll pick some faves from the chat to be able to play then. A massive thank you.
What are we playing? Are we playing
We're playing TFT.
Okay, well, thank goodness.
Yeah, you're in. A massive thank you to our sponsors, NeoSurf, McDonald's, and EPOS for making all of this possible. We love you all, so thank you very much for being a part of the OPL. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. Rusty, Skimmy, Spawn. I hope it's been a good one, despite what we learned about Jake.
We're persevering with
because
that
of what we
in
learned
mind.
about Jake is what you're supposed to say.
I'm surprised he didn't back me up on the fruit juice statement, given the fact he's always talking about his orange juice.
Yes, well, I mean, I think he had too much orange juice when we were talking about those chips conversation. All right, we will be back with you from 4 p.m. Nick time, Sydney time, Rusty time, Skimmy time, not Spawn time tomorrow afternoon for more League of Legends
Still 4
action.
p.m. Melbourne.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I don't know how your
It's
weird state
absolutely
works.
still the same.
It's not the same, is it?
Yeah, Sydney, Melbourne, Sydney, Victoria. New South Wales, Victoria.
Have we matched up now? I thought there was a time difference. It doesn't matter. I don't go to
Queensland's
that shit state anyway. All right, well, whatever. We'll see you at 4 o'clock tomorrow, you freaks. Join us for the MPL in a second.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
Welcome to the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson.
And that's a beautiful hemo play, got to multiple members. He gets himself a double kill. It's Ray's doing what he does, the team fight king.
We love everybody. We love the OPL.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Greetings, Captain. Incoming status report with news from the Convergence. We've lost contact with some of our allies and enemies have called in reinforcements. We'll have to round up some new recruits if we want to restore peace to the galaxy. Ready? This is Team Fight Tactics Galaxies. Return to the stars. Valkyrie and Void forces have withdrawn from the intergalactic arena. But systems report that new champions have emerged with abilities we've never seen before. Mechanized units identified as Battlecast wreak fear and havoc among the ranks of their adversaries, while Astros possess unique abilities. It looks like some remarkably powerful champions are making their way to the front lines. A creature of total mechanical terror, Urgot launches his drill at enemies and reels them in for utter annihilation. Janna casts powerful storms across the battlefield, bolstering allies and disrupting enemy units with impressive crowd control. Thanks to her unique origin, she grants allies additional attack bonuses, giving her team some much-needed support. Oh, one more thing. The Galactic Leaderboard has been reset. With legions of new recruits entering the intergalactic stage, each with unlimited potential waiting to be tapped, I can hardly calculate all the future possibilities. Well, actually, I can. But that's not the point. The galaxy needs you, Captain. So, ready on your go.